In the shadows of a bustling metropolis, live twin brothers whose personalities and statuses are worlds apart. The elder Bai Daojing is the fearsome boss of the Longshan Society gang. He has clawed his way through the underworld for years with ruthless methods. Every move he makes is utterly merciless. His enemies are completely powerless before him. He has never faltered in any gang conflict. Thus he has established absolute authority in the criminal underworld. In contrast, his younger brother Bai Liju is entirely different. He is the ace special forces operative of the National Special Operations Bureau, with extraordinary courage and superb martial skills. In just 2 years, he has infiltrated North Korea to conduct over 80 undercover missions. He traverses dangerous enemy territories to secure numerous critical pieces of intelligence for the nation. He is an indispensable asset to the Special Operations Bureau. Originally, the paths of the two brothers were like parallel lines that would never intersect, each busy in his own world. However, fate's wheel began to spin wildly after a fateful accident. During one operation, the Special Operations Bureau received erroneous intelligence, mistakenly identifying Bai Daojing as Bai Liju, who was on a secret mission. After a fierce confrontation, Bai Daojing was brutally silenced by the Bureau. Meanwhile, the younger brother assumed the identity of his elder brother, the gang boss, balancing the maintenance of the gang's stability while avenging his brother. And now, after completing a mission, Bai Liju suddenly receives an invitation from his brother. At that time, he had just finished a secret disguise mission at a construction site, dressed in shabby construction gear, looking utterly disheveled. When he arrived at the luxurious restaurant designated by his brother, the security guard at the door, seeing his appearance, extended his hand in disdain to block him. Just as Bai Liju felt helpless, his elder brother Bai Daojing appeared in the nick of time. When the guard learned that this poorly dressed man was actually the boss's own brother, his face turned as white as a sheet. Cold sweat instantly soaked his back. He hurriedly bowed repeatedly in apology. Bai Daojing led his brother into the restaurant. Inside, the restaurant boasted exquisite decor and tables laden with delicious food. For Bai Liju, who usually ate and slept rough at construction sites, this was beyond his wildest dreams. During the meal, Bai Daojing suddenly pulled out his business card, inviting his brother with eager anticipation to join his conglomerate, and painting a splendid vision of achieving great things and making a fortune together. But as an ace special forces operative, Bai Liju held firm convictions and a sense of duty in his heart, and unhesitatingly and politely declined his brother's invitation. At that moment, Bai Liju's phone suddenly rang. On the other end, he heard team member Sherwin's rapid gasps and a desperate shout. "Team leader, we've all been killed." It turned out that the special operations team was celebrating a successful mission at a banquet near the construction site. Suddenly, several vehicles drove in. Huang Mao, seeing that the arrivals were led by his direct superior Section Chief Zhang, rose with a smile to greet them. But unexpectedly, Section Chief Zhang's smile instantly vanished as he pulled a handgun from his coat and without hesitation fired a shot at Huang Mao. Huang Mao didn't even have time to react before collapsing into a pool of blood. Before anyone could recover from the shock, a group of fully armed soldiers had already surrounded them. Moments later, these silenced members of the Special Operations team were turned into the human foundation of a government building. Hearing this news, Bai Liju was frantic, knowing full well that he had to immediately rescue Sherwin. However, at that moment, a group of Special Forces soldiers had already arrived at the hotel entrance. The security guard still tried to perform his duty to block them, but his leader with one slash cut his wrist, and he fell to the ground screaming in agony. Meanwhile, in the restaurant, a drunken Bai Daojing believed that his brother had returned after the call, but when he looked closely, he discovered it was a group of heavily armed soldiers. Elsewhere, Bai Liju was hurrying toward the construction site in a state of panic, only to be blocked by a group of masked soldiers. No words were exchanged between the sides, and they instantly plunged into intense combat. One soldier, wielding a short knife, lunged fiercely at Bai Liju's vital points. Bai Liju reacted swiftly, grasping the soldier's wrist with his other hand, then mustered all his strength to deliver a heavy punch to the soldier's head. The soldier instantly fell unconscious. Seizing the opportunity, Bai Liju snatched the short knife. It was as if his formidable combat instincts were instantly awakened. In the blink of an eye, over a dozen burly men were all knocked to the ground by him. Meanwhile, in the restaurant, Bai Daojing was equally unwilling to be outdone. Despite his lingering drunkenness, his years of experience in the underworld quickly propelled him into combat mode. Within moments, he took down 3 Special Forces soldiers. At that moment, intermittent voices came through the intercom, saying found Bai Liju executing on the spot. That statement completely enraged Bai Daojing. He roared, "How dare you touch the direct brother of the boss of Longshan Society." Soon after dealing with the trouble, Bai Liju rushed to the restaurant. Seeing that his brother was unharmed, his anxious heart finally eased a bit. Then, amid the chaos, the brothers revealed their true identities to each other. On the way back, Bai Liju knew full well that he was now the primary target of the military. Not wanting to bring trouble to his brother, he suggested getting off and leaving, but Bai Daojing nonchalantly patted his shoulder, firmly saying, "I'll find a way to help you. You are my brother, and I will never let anything happen to you." The next day, the vast Longshan Longshan society was arranged to resemble a memorial service, publicly declaring that his brother Bai Liju had died in an accident, and even claiming that this was a method commonly used by Japanese gangs to erase one's identity. Bai Liju looked upon the scene before him, his heart filled with doubts. Could the military be so easily fooled? Bai Daojing confidently replied, of course they will have doubts, but you are the brother of the boss of Longshan society. As long as those high-ranking influential figures vouch for me, no one will dare question it. At the funeral, Bai Liju, dressed to resemble his brother Bai Daojing, stood on the stage. At that moment, Section Chief Zhang arrived at the entrance of the Longshan society with his entourage, his purpose being to open the coffin, to verify whether Bai Liju was truly dead. As soon as he got out of the car, his subordinates clashed with the security guard. The guard, following the rules, was preventing those in sportswear from participating in the investigation. The soldiers paid no heed. The leader directly knocked the guard in black to the ground with a punch. Seeing this, the backup guards rushed forward one after another, but they were no match for the special forces. Within moments they all fell and lost their ability to resist. This scene was witnessed by Bai Liju on stage. The head of the security team, Xiao Zhenxiong, was even more enraged. He took off his coat and strode forward. He solemnly declared, without an invitation you cannot attend the funeral. But that soldier, lacking any chivalry, without a word delivered a punch straight at Zhenxiong's chin. Yet to Zhenxiong, that punch felt like nothing more than a tickle. In retaliation, Zhenxiong immediately slapped the soldier's face. A loud crack was heard, as the chin of the elite special forces soldier was crushed by Zhenxiong with one hand. This scene completely shocked the soldiers behind him. They realized that only by attacking together did they have any chance of winning. But Zhenxiong's arm was powerful and fierce. He first delivered a slap, then a punch, and in the blink of an eye effortlessly took down a group of special forces soldiers. At that moment, Section Chief Zhang, who was in the car, could no longer remain seated. He put on the facade of a good-natured man and got out. He said hypocritically, I am Bai Liju's superior. I mean no harm on this trip. I came specifically to pay my respects to him. Upon hearing this, Zhenxiong looked up at Bai Liju on the steps, and Bai Liju, dressed to resemble his brother, nodded. Only then was Section Chief Zhang allowed into the memorial hall, yet in his heart he remained filled with doubts about Bai Liju's death. At that moment, Bai Liju pulled a short knife from his sleeve, his gaze fixed intently on Section Chief Zhang, and he coldly said, I found this on my brother. Please explain who killed my brother. Section Chief Zhang's heart skipped a beat. He silently wondered, has Bai Liju really died? It seems I must fabricate a reason to fool this little punk. So he composed himself for a moment and said, your brother died accidentally during a mission. No sooner had he finished speaking than Bai Liju roared in anger, delivering a heavy punch that sent Section Chief Zhang flying. I demand to know. Who killed my brother? Section Chief Zhang instinctively reached his hand into his coat. Fortunately, at that moment his secretary, quick of hand, stepped forward and restrained Bai Liju. Meanwhile, Zhenxiong patted Section Chief Zhang's shoulder from the side and coldly said, now please go back. Bai Liju continued to hurl insults at Section Chief Zhang. His seemingly stiff performance only made Section Chief Zhang more suspicious. After the funeral, the brothers returned to their room to discuss their next moves. Bai Daojing sincerely proposed that his brother remain in the organization henceforth, so that he could evade the military's pursuit and have a safe haven. But Bai Liju had his own principles and limits. He could not accept becoming part of the underworld, thus carrying his belongings on his back. He resolutely left the Longshan society. The dignified gang boss Bai Daojing watched his brother's departing figure, feeling helpless, yet still unable to let go of his worries. He immediately ordered Zhenxiong to protect him from all sides in secret. Bai Liju had barely walked a short distance out when he noticed dozens of luxury Benzes following him closely. He knew that these were undoubtedly people sent by his brother. Meanwhile, inside the building, Bai Daojing was with his secretary preparing to go downstairs to buy something. He turned to his subordinate behind him and said, this is my sister. Greet her. His subordinate instinctively blurted out, hello big sister. That remark made Bai Daojing suspicious. He stepped forward, carefully scrutinizing the other party, and smiling he said, isn't my sister getting more beautiful? The subordinate quickly agreed, yes. Big sister is very beautiful today. Bai Daojing grew increasingly uneasy inside. No one by my side has ever called Shoya big sister. Who exactly are you? No sooner had he spoken than the crew cut guy suddenly swung a knife and slashed toward Bai Daojing. Only then did Bai Daojing realize that the two bodyguards were actually undercover agents sent by Section Chief Zhang. He reacted swiftly. Immediately he drew a short knife from near Shoya's thigh. Then with a quick maneuver, he delivered a precise slash across the crew cut guy's waist and neck. Unexpectedly, another man in black, lacking any honor, took advantage of Bai Daojing engaging the crew cut guy and raised his knife to stab Shoya. Seeing that he was about to strike a lethal blow to the woman. Bai Daojing did not hesitate to rush forward, using his body to block the attack. Immediately after, he swung the short knife in his hand, knocking the knife out of the man's hand. At that moment, the bald guy once again raised his knife and charged at Xiaoya. Bai Daojing seized the opportunity, grabbing his wrist firmly and twisting it forcefully, slashing the opponent's wrist. With that, the weapons of both moles were completely disarmed. Nearby, Xiaoya was not idle either. Seizing the moment, she delivered a devastating kick aimed at the bald guy, and enraged Bai Daojing, wielding twin knives, without hesitation ended the lives of both of them. After exiting the elevator, a shaken Bai Daojing intended to ask the guards downstairs for a cigarette to calm his nerves, but then that guard suddenly plunged a knife into his kidney. Only then did Bai Daojing realize that this subordinate was also an agent of Section Chief Zhang. Enduring the intense pain, he grabbed the man's face tightly and shouted, "I just need a cigarette. Do you really have to be so ruthless?" Just as the strength in Daojing's hand grew ever greater, he tightened his grip around the neck of the man before him. The man struggled desperately, but unexpectedly another face was revealed beneath the mask. As he took a closer look at the newcomer, Daojing's heart sank. The intruder turned out to be the ace assassin sent by the Special Intelligence Agency. The bodyguards behind roared at the boss to retreat immediately. That anxious shout echoed through the empty space. In the face of danger, however, Daojing left the chance to live to Secretary Qiuya. His eyes turned bloodshot. Like an enraged lion, he roared, threatening to dismember this son of a bitch with his twin blades. The white-haired assassin, seeing this, showed no fear. He immediately launched a swift attack with a flash step. His movements were as rapid as a cheetah, and amidst the fierce exchange of blows between the two, it was then realized that this man's assassination target was none other than his brother Bai Liju. At that moment, Liju had just left the Longshan Society with Qin Xiong sensed a slight movement behind him. He turned around and saw a hoodie-clad man skulking about, so without a hint of emotion, quickened his pace and entered the alley ahead. Seeing that his target was about to slip from view, the hoodie man hastened his speed and dashed after him. However, as soon as he emerged, he was keenly noticed by Qin Xiong. A fist was thrown, sending him flying more than 80 meters. The hoodie man crashed heavily onto the ground, kicking up a cloud of dust. After Li Zhu saw that his opponent's wrist had been broken, rendering him combat ineffective, a cold, steady voice spoke out, "Are you the one sent by the Special Intelligence Agency to check if I'm dead?" But the familiar voice of the man left him stunned. Taking a closer look, he discovered it was the member from the poetry group who had called to inform him just yesterday. Seeing that his only little brother was still alive, Li Zhu felt deeply relieved. His tense expression softened somewhat. Just as the two shared a moment of mutual reminiscence, Qin Xiong's phone suddenly rang. The content on the other end made him roar in anger, simply because Daojing had been slashed across the chest by the white-haired assassin. Fresh blood instantly stained his clothes red. In an instant, the fight between the two escalated to a fever pitch. Blade glints flashed. Both sides exchanged slashes, one cut after another. The clashing of metal resounded incessantly, but Daojing's stamina quickly began to wane. His vision gradually became blurred. He could only rely on the instincts honed from years of combat to barely hold on. Ultimately, he was caught by the white-haired assassin's opportunity. A descending slash knocked Daojing's short blade away. Seeing that Daojing was at a disadvantage, the white-haired man smirked. He spoke again, demanding, "Where is your brother Bai Liju?" But upon hearing this, Daojing's eyes turned resolute. He actually slashed off the long hair he had been cultivating for 30 years, while taunting the white-haired man, "Your speed is far too slow." Then he flung away that strand of hair that had been his longtime companion, roaring, "I am Bai Liju, you big idiot." Upon hearing this, the white-haired man wore an expression of disbelief, but in the very next second, Daojing lunged forward with a swift, fierce attack. Yet his move was easily parried by the white-haired man's lifting of his hand. The white-haired man scoffed, "Bai Liju's strength isn't as weak as yours. Prepare to die, you little thug." He had thought it was a sure victory, but he did not expect to be ambushed by Daojing first. Daojing grabbed the thin line along the edge of his opponent's blade with his left hand, and with his right hand wielded a wide horizontal blade, slicing it down on the white-haired man's face with a howling wind. The fully healthy sword saint was counter-killed by the wounded man's blade. An enraged white-haired man rose and counterattacked once more, but again Daojing caught his wrist firmly, then with another slash directly severed the opponent's waist. Fresh blood gushed out. The sudden disparity in strength made the white-haired man doubt. Could it be? Could he truly be Bai Liju? But reason told him not to fall into panic. So roaring raised his blade once more to slash at Daojing. However, this time Daojing did not give him a chance. First, he grabbed the white-haired man's finger with a palm strike, then with a slash directly severed the tendon in his hand. The white-haired man cried out in pain. In the blink of an eye, collapsed heavily onto the ground. Immediately afterwards, Daojing flung open his robe, emanating a chilling, formidable aura, as if a death god had descended. Seeing this, the white-haired man finally confirmed that this was indeed Bai Liju. Instantly intimidated by the aura, he hurriedly pleaded for mercy, but the decisive and ruthless Dao Jing showed no mercy. His eyes were filled with the intent to kill. Yet just as the white-haired man instinctively raised his blade in defiance, Dao Jing staggered forward and lunged at the man. This sudden turn of events left the barely surviving white-haired man dumbfounded on the spot, but at that moment he had no time to dwell on it, for Liju had already driven up to the door. One could see the white-haired man while running, glancing through the manual in his hand. The excitedly marked an X on the page for Liju. That action exuded a sinister intent. Meanwhile, when Liju arrived, he saw that his brother's chest was soaked with fresh blood, lying on the cold ground lifeless. The passing of Bai Daojing was like a massive stone plunging into a still lake. The Longshan Society was leaderless. Soon it was coveted by other gang organizations. Secretary Qiuyao wore a face full of worry, proposing that Jinxiong take over as the boss. But Jinxiong knew well that the Longshan Society only obeyed Bai Daojing. This so-called unmovable underworld king of his could only shake his head and sigh helplessly at that moment. And at this moment Bai Liju, filled with hatred, only wished to find those assassins, to personally tear them limb from limb with his own hands, to vent the hate in his heart. Relying on the sharp instincts of an agent arrived at the market. Even before stepping in, he could smell a pungent stench of blood. Pushing the door open, the scene before him utterly stunned him. The man on the ground had been beaten into a mess like a wasp nest. Fresh blood had pooled into dark red puddles, of gruesome sight. Fortunately, in the corner there was a balding man clinging to his last breath. This man turned out to be an agent from the same batch as Bai Liju. The balding man trembling whispered in Liju's ear, his voice so weak like a thread about to break at any moment. Director Zhang had ordered everyone to gather last night, but ended up spraying them with random gunfire, turning them into a sieve. Is this to silence all of us in this batch? Bai Liju, you better run. Run. You alone stand no chance against that organization. After saying that, there was complete silence. Their eyelids drooped as if falling into a deep sleep. Meanwhile, the Longshan Society headquarters also fell into crisis. Jin Taeyun with his henchmen stormed into the stronghold like vicious wolves. He stood in the center of the hall. His words dripped with sarcasm. Is this the Longshan Society of the four major organizations? Even the mighty immovable underworld king Xia Jinxiong is nothing more than this. However, upon hearing this, Jinxiong merely wore an expression of disdain. As if looking at a buffoon, he said, "You are the fourth little thug to ambush the Longshan Society." Those words immediately broke Jin Taeyuan's composure. Jinxiong said dispassionately, "Boss, I am a bit tired now. Why don't you all come at once?" But at that moment Liju suddenly arrived. Everyone was utterly confused by this unfamiliar guy. Even Jinxiong was puzzled. Frowning, inquired about the purpose of his visit. Liju's gaze was firm, like a burning flame determined to avenge his brother. "I need a team. Can you hand over the Longshan Society to me?" This sudden request left Jinxiong rather bewildered. For a moment he didn't know how to respond, and Jin Taeyun, seeing the two wasting time, grew impatient. So he immediately placed his blade before Liju. But unexpectedly Liju reacted swiftly. With a counterpunch attacked, it landed directly on Jin Taeyuan's jaw. It made his head tilt backward in pain. Only then did the pained Jin Taeyuan react. In his daze, he mistakenly identified Liju as Bai Daojing. For a moment the scene became chaotic, but at that moment Jin Taeyuan suddenly issued an order. Like a mad gambler, "There are many of us. Together who can take him down." After saying that, those henchmen charged at Liju as if injected with adrenaline. But with just one encounter they were flipped over and knocked to the ground. They cried out in despair. Seeing that the situation was unfavorable, Jin Taeyuan increased the stakes and shouted, "What are you standing there for? Attack me now. Whoever kills Bai Daojing, I'll give them half the territory." Even though this brainwashing talk is quite enticing, it's all nonsense in the face of Liju's formidable strength. Seeing his henchmen about to be completely taken down by Bai Daojing, Jin Taeyuan seized the opportunity to launch a sneak attack from behind, but he ended up having his short blade disarmed by Liju with a spinning strike. It wasn't until he saw the blood that he realized the terror of Bai Daojing. In the very next second, without hesitation, spun and ran wildly. That disheveled appearance starkly contrasted with his earlier arrogance. At that moment the Longshan Society henchmen behind finally came to their senses. Someone excitedly shouted, "It's Bai Daojing. Boss Bai is back." And at that moment Jinxiong slowly spoke. With deep intense eyes she looked at Liju and said, "If you want the Longshan Society, there is only one way." Meanwhile, in a tea house, the aroma of tea swirled, yet it couldn't conceal the undercurrents of tension. The four major organizations were holding a headquarters meeting. All that could be heard was that elegant, charming sister Juana softly saying, "I heard that Bai Daojing has been dead for several months now. If that really is the case, then the Longshan Society is doomed." But at that moment a familiar voice came from behind the curtain. Everyone was startled and looked in the direction of the voice. It turned out to be Bai Liju entering, accompanied by Jinxiong. He scanned the crowd with his gaze and said, "It seems everyone is very concerned about my safety. On the way to the meeting, Li Zhu had already investigated the background of each of them. Silently, he began to sort out the intricate and complex relationships among them. Che Yuhua gave the impression of being on very intimate terms with Dao Jing, from the look in her eyes when she gazed at Dao Jing, and the occasional unintentional familiarity revealed when she mentioned Dao Jing. One could discern a hint of something in that fellow Lu Taiyang. The moment they met, he was like a firecracker, and instantly started his rapid-fire verbal barrage. His words were full of provocation. Li Zhu, however, would never show weakness. He immediately retorted in a clear and organized manner, leaving Lu Taiyang utterly speechless. His face flushed bright red with no way to rebut. At this moment, Han Haixing, who had been standing silently aside, seized the opportunity to pick up the thread of conversation. He squinted his eyes slightly as he looked at Li Zhu, and unhurriedly said, "During the period you were missing, a lot of major decisions were made in the association." However, Li Zhu acted as if he hadn't heard. His expression remained cold and indifferent. Seeing this, Han Haixing, with a mocking smirk curling his lips, he continued to add fuel to the fire. "Your brother is dead. How is it that you show no sign of grief? This is not at all like the Bai Dao Jing everyone knows for his loyalty and honor." With those words, the air around them seemed to solidify. All eyes turned in unison toward Li Zhu, as if they were all waiting for his response. Soon the topic shifted to the incident at the funeral involving the conflict between the Longshan society and the military. Upon hearing this, Li Zhu's eyes instantly turned icy as frost, and he said in a cold voice, "The current Bai Dao Jing has any right to remain in the association?" Before anyone could answer, he suddenly whipped out a dagger, with a whoosh plunging it straight into the table. He instantly flipped his demeanor. With his eyes wide in anger, he roared, "The affairs of my Longshan society are none of your concern. Even the association has no right to intervene." This sudden turn of events left Han Haixing utterly stunned. His eyes widened in disbelief, his face filled with incredulity. He blurted out, "What do you mean? Do you intend to go against our 4 major organizations?" But Li Zhu stood straight and dignified, responding without subservience or arrogance. "The Longshan society will officially withdraw from the association starting today." Having said that, he turned around without hesitation and strode briskly toward his car. Then he drove off directly back to the Longshan society. But who could have anticipated that complications would suddenly arise along the way? 3 cars like ghosts raced in from behind, forming an encirclement and forcing Li Zhu's car to stop by the roadside. The car door swung open, and the person turned out to be Lu Taiyang, the leader of the Giant Wolf Society. Li Zhu's statement in the association had evidently given him the perfect excuse to act. At that moment, Li Zhu inside the car remained calm and unruffled. His gaze exuded a determined firmness. Seeing this, Lu Taiyang was infuriated. He suddenly swung a punch. There was a loud resounding thud. The bulletproof glass was directly shattered by his punch. Lu Taiyang believed he had the upper hand. A smug smile spread across his face as he slowly spoke. "Now just hand over your Longshan society." Immediately, dozens of burly men came from all directions, completely encircling the car. In an instant, Li Zhu's side was plunged into a desperate predicament, outnumbered at that critical moment. But Sherwin suddenly stuck his head out and began to spout wildly, yelling, "You bunch of blind fools. What are you all doing getting involved? It's your first time riding in a luxury car, and yet you lousy scum are already spoiling it." This act left Lu Taiyang utterly dumbfounded. He was stunned for a moment, then immediately recovered, seeing a glimmer of cunning in Sherwin's eyes. He even offered him an olive branch. "You kids seem to have enough loyalty. Why not come join me? I guarantee you'll live a life of luxury." Hearing this, Sherwin's face showed nothing but disdain. Snorting, he retorted loudly, "What do you think you are? You're not even fit to be my boss." This completely infuriated Lu Taiyang. In a rage, he hurled a punch at him, sending a gust of wind in its wake. But to his surprise, Sherwin was unafraid. Using one open palm, he lightly caught it and firmly blocked the fierce punch. Witnessing this, Lu Taiyang was inwardly amazed, realizing that this kid, despite his youth, possessed remarkable combat prowess, and he couldn't help but feel a greater sense of admiration. Still not ready to give up, he again offered Sherwin an olive branch. But at that moment, a sudden roar of vehicles came from behind. Everyone turned to look and saw a group of vehicles racing towards them. After the cars came to a complete stop, the newcomer turned out to be Li Xing, man of the Gudao Society. He strode forward with a steady step. With a cold, stern expression, he said to everyone, "You'd better not create any conflict here, or you'll only be inviting trouble." However, Lu Taiyang had a playful look on his face. Showing no regard for him, he shrugged nonchalantly in reply, "Oh boss Li, don't concern yourself with this matter. Once we've dealt with things over here, I plan to invite you to join the party with me." However, before Lu Taiyang could finish his sentence, a robust, powerful hand suddenly clamped his shoulder like iron tongs. He turned his head in astonishment and saw a burly man with a white beard who had mysteriously appeared behind him. At the sight of the newcomer, Lu Taiyang's face turned instantly ashen. His attitude made a complete 180-degree turn, and he suddenly became completely submissive. Observing this scene, Sherwin was filled with curiosity, and he couldn't help but ask Qin Xiong about this man's background. Qin Xiong lowered his voice slightly with a hint of reverence and said slowly, "This white-bearded man is the venerable elder Cui Xinghao of the Gudao Society. During its heyday, he was the nightmare for every gang organization. reputation, as just hearing his name would send shivers down everyone's spine. Even now, these low-level lackeys still shiver at the mere mention of his name. Naturally, Lu Taiheng was well aware of Cui Xinghao's formidable reputation. Even though he might have had 1,000 grievances, he had no choice but to grit his teeth and swallow his pride. And he ceased his attack on the Longshan society, and with his men in tow departed in a dejected manner. At that moment Jin Xiong stepped out of the car and greeted Cui Xinghao, and from their conversation it appeared they were old acquaintances. Meanwhile, Li Xingman walked over towards Li Zhu, glancing at Li Zhu's car, which was somewhat damaged from the collision, with a slight frown. He said, "Your car is damaged. Get into my car." Li Zhu's gaze lingered on his face for a moment, secretly trying to discern his intentions, although he couldn't quite grasp what his true plan was. But after much deliberation, he eventually decided to get into the car along with Shi Wan. Meanwhile, Jin Xiong was left behind by Cui Xinghao under the guise of a friendly catch-up. Once everyone had departed, Cui Xinghao turned to look at Jin Xiong. A glimmer of intent flashed in his eyes as he extended an invitation. "Why don't you give up on the Longshan society and join our Gudao society? Follow me and I promise you'll enjoy wealth and glory in the future." At that moment Li Xingman also slowly explained his own intentions. With a deep alluring gaze he said, "This association now only serves the purpose of restraining competition. If you wish to survive in these turbulent times, you must expand your own power. And similarly, I urgently need a larger force to secure the position of the Gudao society," implying quite clearly that my intention is to annex the Longshan society. No sooner had he finished speaking, a group of thugs all clad in matching suits and exuding a murderous aura swiftly surrounded them, encircling Li Zhu and Shi Wan tightly. Li Zhu's gaze instantly sharpened like that of an eagle. Without a moment's hesitation he signaled to Shi Wan, indicating that he should strike first. Upon receiving the signal, Shi Wan did not hesitate at all, his form darting like a phantom, and immediately hurled an electric cannon at the driver. The driver didn't even have time to cry out in surprise before he went down with a thud unconscious. Meanwhile, Li Zhu fixed his gaze on that balding man across from him. This was no ordinary man, but a top assassin renowned alongside Cui Xinghao, whose formidable reputation echoed throughout the underworld. A battle-hardened warrior with over a decade of experience. But Li Zhu was undaunted, and like a force breaking through bamboo he struck first, landing a barrage of military boxing blows. His movements flowed like water executed in one seamless motion. That illustrious assassin, one of the Gudao Society's 9 blades, was caught completely off guard by the sudden assault, and finally was knocked over onto the ground. Such terrifying fighting power. It made the surrounding 9 knives tremble in fear. Their faces all showed looks of astonishment, but Bai Li Zhu acted as if nothing was amiss. He simply spoke in a calm manner. "It seems that today the Godawi is destined to vanish." The Godawi leader in the car, upon hearing this, inwardly thought it was not good. He was about to act when a hand holding a knife blocked his path. There stood Shi Wan at the car door with a playful expression. The words that Boss Li Zhu had just spoken, "Have you forgotten them? Now you can only remain obediently in the car." Meanwhile, Black Uncle, who was beaten to the ground, struggled to rise. Relying on his side's numbers, he continued to show off. He shouted at Li Zhu loudly with a huff, "Kid, today you've really encountered a tough opponent. Had you been 10 years younger, just with these moves you would have been finished right here." Red Uncle on the side, upon hearing this, casually joked, "Black brother, you've been beaten so badly today. It's truly something seldom seen." Ha! At this, Black Uncle's face showed a trace of embarrassment. Enraged by his humiliation, he roared, "Stop talking nonsense. Let's all attack and settle this quickly." After that, White Uncle shouted loudly, and with a powerful kick charged forward. But Li Zhu remained unruffled. Raising his hand with a gentle sweep, he easily deflected the fierce attack. However, the other 2 of the 9 knives disregarded the rules of martial virtue. Taking advantage of the moment when Li Zhu was parrying White Uncle's attack, they flanked him from both sides. Due to a moment of carelessness, Li Zhu was caught by the collar by the enemy. All of a sudden, Red Uncle roared in anger, as if thunder itself was raging, and landed a heavy punch directly, with the force of 1,000 pounds, smashing into Li Zhu's chest. Li Zhu was unable to dodge in time. Gripped by pain, he instantly collapsed to the ground. In that moment he was at a disadvantage, yet the man from behind gave him no moment to recover. A lightning-fast left kick was launched towards Li Zhu's face. The coordination among the 9 knives was impeccable. For a moment Li Zhu found it difficult to fend them off. Moreover, each of them possessed strength not to be underestimated. Each one was more formidable than the previous. At this moment Li Zhu relied on his combat instincts honed over years on the battlefield. Gritting his teeth, he fought back with difficulty, but soon he regained his composure. Quickly he adjusted his battle strategy. In his heart he silently made up his mind to find the perfect opportunity to beat them to a pulp, until the enemy was completely devoid of fighting strength. But he never expected their teamwork to be so flawless. Just as Black Uncle was about to collapse, he was intercepted by White Uncle's lightning-fast move. Next, White Uncle with a swift reverse motion tore off Li Zhu's shirt. Instantly Li Zhu was rendered immobile. He could only stand in place. This exposed vulnerability instantly made him a human punching bag for his enemies. Seeing this, Black uncle felt a surge of triumph. He wasn't about to let the opportunity pass. Bang bang, several punches followed. He made sure to dish out the punishment for the blows he had just received. Each punch landed with full overwhelming force on Li Zhu. This scene compelled Sherwin inside the car to break out in furious curses. These bastards are utterly shameless. After all, the 9 knives are the strongest combat force of the Godawi. Even Bai Daojing could never win by himself. Meanwhile, on the other side, Xia Zhenxiong was also embroiled in a fierce fight. He was beaten into a bloody, mangled state. Meanwhile, his opponent Cui Xinghao appeared as if a war god had possessed him. His movements were agile. His attacks were as swift as lightning, so fast that not even the dust on his clothes could be seen. This clearly demonstrated how formidable his power was. Sherwin was frantic with worry. At that moment, he prepared to rush out and come to Li Zhu's aid, but Li Shengman suddenly appeared, blocking him, and said coldly, "Even if you go, it won't change the outcome. You all still have no idea who you're dealing with now. If you are pushed too far, all these old men present might very well die here." After these words, he showed no mercy. He swiftly executed a sweeping leg kick to take care of business. The suited uncle couldn't dodge in time, and was kicked straight into the arms of the man next to him. Sherwin looked at the group and spoke coldly, "Your true opponent is me." And on Li Zhu's side, he was locked in a fierce exchange of blows with White Uncle. Their punches struck flesh with every blow. Every collision emitted a dull thud. Eventually, Li Zhu noticed a flaw in White Uncle's defense, and with a sudden burst of power, he punched White Uncle's arm. There was a sharp cracking sound. As White Uncle's arm dislocated, he let out a miserable scream and managed to retreat. Upon hearing that his good brother had been taken out on the spot, Black Uncle's eyes instantly turned red. Like a maddened beast, he roared in anger. Red Uncle too was utterly infuriated. While pinning Li Zhu's shoulder, he raised his leg high and swung a chop, sweeping forward with a whooshing wind, attacking head-on. The quick reacting Li Zhu immediately reached out to block the opponent's fierce strike. At the same time, a spark of insight flashed in his mind. He recalled the counter techniques he had practiced for years in the unit. Moments later, all that could be heard was White Uncle clutching his thigh and emitting a painful howl. It turned out that Li Zhu had unleashed a crosslock, a technique that no one had ever been able to counter, successfully subduing his enemy. Black Uncle and Red Uncle were both stunned. They secretly wondered in their hearts, what kind of monster is this Bai Daojing really? However, just as Black Uncle lost focus, Bai Li Zhu had already readied himself for action. A heavy punch filled with boundless anger and force smashed over. But just at this crucial moment, a familiar voice suddenly resounded. "Stop!" Everyone turned their gaze toward the sound, and it was none other than Li Shengman again. He quickly strode forward, looking at the crowd. With a dark expression, he intervened, ordering them to stop. Li Zhu in anger said, "If you can beat him, then beat him to death. But if you can't, then beg for mercy." What is the meaning of this? The following events. Let's talk just the two of us. After saying so, he fixed his gaze intently on Li Zhu, as if he wanted to see right through him, and began speaking slowly. "You are not Bai Daojing, but you are actually the younger brother Bai Li Zhu, isn't it?" It turns out that after the military silenced the Special Operations Unit, the police department director found Section Chief Zhang. At first, the director wore a beaming smile, praising his counterpart for handling the matter cleanly and efficiently. But in the very next moment, he seemed to transform completely, suddenly erupting in furious reproach. "Do you know how much trouble you've caused by provoking the Longshan Association? How much trouble you have brought me? I advise you, little Section Chief, not to get too cocky." But little did I expect that Section Chief Zhang was not one to be trifled with. Without a word, he directly tore off the other party's police badge. With an icy, fearless gaze, he retorted, "You are merely a cog in this plan, and many could replace your position as the director of the police department. If you don't want to work, then get lost." Upon these words, the director's subordinates were immediately filled with rage. Grabbing Section Chief Zhang by the collar, they were about to make a move. Seeing this, the director believed he had the advantage, just as he was about to relax. But unexpectedly, that officer was easily flipped to the ground by Section Chief Zhang. Section Chief Zhang acted as if in a frenzy. Without a word, he delivered a series of fierce kicks to the officer's head. His methods were utterly ruthless. The director was so shocked by this sudden turn of events that his face went instantly pale. His legs turned to jelly. In the next second, Section Chief Zhang pulled out his handgun and pressed it against his forehead. He asked coldly, "Are you aiming to end up like the Special Operations Unit, buried under the foundation?" The overbearing director was immediately frightened into submissive murmurs. He stuttered, claiming he knew people from the higher-ups, and the person the director referred to was none other than Li Shengman of the Godawi. He had divulged every detail of the Longshan Association's secrets to the other party, and with a panicked look he indicated that the higher-ups intended to eliminate the Longshan Association. "You must strike before the other gangs do, so that the declining Godawi can once again return to its peak."